Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the 20s Detox. I'm Bianca, your host, where we dive into all the things that I'm learning and unlearning in my 20s to elevate this decade. It's officially March, Pisces season. Pisces energy is really specific. It has every single element of all previous zodiacs. It's also a very sensitive, heightened, psychic, dreamy sign. And also what can happen is you can also be extremely existential, and usually existential thoughts come full blown this time. The last 2 months I've been talking about the energy of winter and how introspectiveness can be really evident. And if you haven't been open to those thoughts, feelings, reflections in these past 2 months, March hits full force with that. The energy that's in the air, the eclipses that are happening will make you literally be forced to have existential thoughts of like what you want to do with your life. It's the last month of Q1, the end of winter. Spring is on the way. And because of that, there's a lot of this like energy that you feel building within you. For me, in this last week or so, I've just had so many ideas of what I would like to do for the year ahead. March for me, because of that dreamy state that Pisces brings to this month, that's when I like to do my vision boards. That's when I like to sit down and spend time really cultivating like a vision board that I love and really feel aligned with. Not just like, that looks pretty. It's like, this is what I'm meant to do the year ahead. I don't do it in January. I feel like that's just not the right time to do it. Now I feel like it's the right time to do it. And I know I'm not alone, because a lot of people I'm seeing online, my friends, they're like, I have this like building energy within me that is just like reaching almost a peak. And also it could be feelings of sadness as well. Pisces is like this super sensitive zodiac sign, right? And like because I'm a Pisces, we are these like insane dreamers and also existential crises. Like we simultaneously think about the best parts and the worst parts of the world, the best parts and the worst part of our life. And it can be a blessing and a curse, right? Like because we have that sensitivity, we're able to do a lot of good in this world. We have like a really, really good footing within empathy, and that helps us create a good foundation to what we're creating. However, I feel like if we don't alchemize it, we don't have that outlet, Pisces in general can really get lost in life and really down. The sense of dreaming and having inspiration and this like intense dreaminess about life is actually so important. Like I feel people think of that act as frivolous and like childlike to dream on a constant basis, daydream. Like I'm a very diligent daydreamer. Like I daydream all the time. I find myself laying in bed at night because I'm like creating these stories in my mind. And I am so gravitated towards like fantasy novels and fantasy movies. And that does have a really important purpose. Without that sense of dreaminess, we are going to be like feeling hopeless of life. Like the dreaminess makes us feel excited for maybe even a week ahead, a month ahead, a year ahead. And that's why I find like March, to spend 4 weeks getting super clear of your vision, will create this like dream on paper for the next 3 quarters of the year, so that when you have tough times throughout the year and you look at that vision board and you know this wasn't just like a nightly thing. Like vision boards now seem to be like this like very quick activity, and you think more about how it looks than like really if it aligns with you, really if it's a reflection of your dreams and visions and intuitive downloads. Creating a vision board, in my opinion, should not be a one night thing. In the past month of February, I've been like jotting down notes of like my biggest goals for the year ahead. And I don't know about you, but the best ideas never really come from me like sitting down and writing it. It always comes from me doing other things, like I'm on a walk, or I'm listening to a fantasy book, or I'm hanging out with friends, or I listen to another podcast, or, like doing something, being busy, movement. When you're moving, you have way more creative ideas than when you're just sitting down. And that is when I'm like, oh, you know what? I really vibe with that. Let me write that down. And then when I look at March, and I look at my list, I circle the ones that I'm like, yeah, that really hits home to me. That is something I feel in my bones. That is like really what I'm meant to do for this year ahead. I thought about another thing recently that Tony Robbins had implemented in my brain. And I feel like this is something every single young person needs to hear. It is most people overestimate what they can do in a year, but underestimate what they can do in a decade. I feel like because we are woken up with this realization that life is ours, we can make these decisions, we can do what we want to do, and our neuroplasticity is at an all-time high. We have so many ideas, and it can become paralyzing, but also really exciting. The danger of all that is we want to take on too much within a year and burn ourselves out, and we lose that long-term momentum. And I feel that for any of you that have been doing this guide with me, doing the seasonal winter of slowing down, and that frustration that comes with this slowness because of that also innate desire to like do a lot at once, and we have all this vigor and we have all this energy. It's important to have a mantra to remind you of why this is so important. And that is one of them for me, is like, I'm slowing down now because macro rest is needed. I don't know if you've heard of like the different stages of rest. Like there's meso rest, micro rest, and macro rest. Micro rest is like those 5-minute in between, sessions. Like if you do the Pomodoro technique and you have like a 5-minute break, that is like a micro rest. Or even the 20-minute break is like a micro rest. After work, when you have time with friends and family, or you're doing a hobby, or you're watching a show or something, anything you're not doing work-wise in the evenings, those are meso breaks. Macro breaks are more vacations, long-term breaks for you to really reset your nervous system and start fresh. This is a macro break. Winter is a macro break. So few of us really allow ourselves to have macro breaks. And the reason for why it's so difficult is because our nervous systems are messed up. Our nervous systems are so dysregulated that you feel like you need to be constantly busy and move all the time. And if you're not moving, then you're not productive, or you're not getting things done properly. And another mantra that my great friend Rachel Maraca told me is, and I literally say this in my head like every day, to move slow is to move smooth, and to move smooth is to move fast. And because of that, whenever I find myself in moments where I am rushing and trying to get things done, I'm like, there's no rush. To move slow is to move smooth, and to move smooth is to move fast. And that's another mantra that you could maybe take in within this next month ahead. Getting into this March slump sadness, I feel that if you are reaching this point, this is not something to be afraid of. These existential thoughts are so important for your long-term happiness. I read this study that the act of boredom is so important for us because it causes existential thoughts, which allow us to reflect on what we really want aside from what everybody has told us to do, what society has put in place. I'm reading this book, Fourth Ring series, and I'm on the second book. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's this codex that they follow, this book of rules. And to be honest, we do have a book of rules too. It maybe isn't like written down on something that we can visibly see, but we have like social constructs, social norms that we are, told to follow, or we are breaking those rules. It's not the law, but people are going to judge you, right? One of the characters was like, do you ever wonder if they were like trying to prime us so much to follow the rules that we wouldn't really think for ourselves? Like we wouldn't think outside of this and like what is actually out there and what the truth is, just to control us and make us these weapons, make us these people that served that system. And I really thought about that now, where there are moments in the year where we are nudged to question that codex, like that rule book. Of course it's going to make us feel uncomfortable. Of course it's going to bring these existential thoughts because we are questioning our current reality. So the March slump, I feel, is one of these pivotal times in the year where you are questioning your codex, like you're questioning what this is. Because of that, I want you to turn these intense thoughts and use the month of March to turn it into like an inspirational dream-like thing. Everything is energy, right? The way we view it is either good or bad. You can talk to your therapist about it, or your best friends, or your journal. That is a way for you to get what is in your head about all these like existential thoughts and put it onto paper for you to see, how can I turn this into love? How can I turn this into inspiration instead of fear? I'll give an example of myself. So one of the things that I've been experiencing is the real understanding of jealousy. I think this is a good one to talk about because when we're in our 20s, we compare a lot. We really do. We like look at other people and how much money they have and what their job is. And like you compare to yourself and you're like, they're doing so much better. They're gaining so much more attention than I am. And rather than feel excited for them, we judge them. We're frustrated with ourselves. We take it out on us and we hold this jealousy of not enoughness or like I'm doing something wrong here. Right there, when you write it down on paper, when you start to see this idea that was planted in my head, it's not to make me beat myself up. It's not to make me feel small or worthless or that I'll never succeed. It's not that I'll never get this thing one day and you need to accept your fate. It's supposed to put right in front of your face being like, you want this. How will you get it? What can you do to get it? Also, something that I've realized is if you are holding judgment towards somebody because they have something that you want, that is the block preventing you from also getting that thing. Let's put in this example of person A wants a higher paying job and they're comparing themselves to person B who has that high paying job. Person A is frustrated and jealous and judgmental towards person B because they have what they want. And this energy that they're giving to that person is subconsciously training you to say, this is not a safe thing to have yet, even though you want it. If you are putting towards something you want negative energy of jealousy and judgment, that is the block from you getting it. And I think when you write it down on paper and you really see what you want and you really see what you are doing here, then it's the step number one for you to be like, how do I let go of this judgment and jealousy? How can I feel inspired by them? How can I feel happy for them? How can I feel like they deserve this too? Because when you are going at that energy, okay, so person A is now switching their mindset. They're looking at person B and saying like, actually, this person worked hard for this job. Actually, this person totally deserves this money for the work that they're doing. They're allowed to have this job. There's enough space for both of us. And when you reach it at that point with love, then you are setting the stage for you to also go in that direction, for you to also feel like other people are viewing you in the same way. Because if you don't do that, if you're trying to go on this path, you're always going to think other people are thinking negatively about you as well. And that is paralyzing, and that stops us from being bold, and that blocks us from getting those opportunities. Do you understand what I mean? Like, that is something I've realized so strongly this year with myself, where I'd feel jealous towards somebody. It could be even that they look prettier than me, or they, like have more money than me, or they have the job I want, or they have the recognition that I've been really wanting. And because of this like hatred, this jealousy, this judgment towards them, I am afraid of going in that direction because I'm also at the same time assuming everybody else is thinking that about me. So to clear this whole area, I'm just getting ringing my ear of confirmation. To clear this energy here, you need to start with approaching all these other people who you are jealous towards with so much love and respect, because you are going to clear these barriers for you to go that same way. And why is this important? Because you can create a vision board of your dreams. You can create the best vision board, and it looks amazing and it feels aligned with you. But if you don't believe that you are going to get that because of this negativity towards other people, it won't come true. If you want to get an apartment and you're jealous of other people having an apartment, that's going to be a block. You need to be happy for other people going through certain milestones too. You need to have love in you, because that keeps you light. That keeps your energy high. That keeps you dreaming. That keeps your creative energy open to be able to do these things and to be ready for these opportunities. Nobody can hate themselves towards a better body, a better job, a better life. Hate is not sustainable. Jealousy is not sustainable. Judgment is not sustainable. I don't agree with how people are approaching it in that way. You know what's really crazy? The people who have the most amount of money that I know are the most unhappy. I think that there is a way of approaching wealth that is in alignment with your highest good and other people's highest good. But I think when I see people with a lot of money that have this intense frugalness, like fear towards losing it, or constant comparison with other people that they currently are not in a state of enoughness, that is not a life I want to live. I don't know about you. That's probably not a life you want to live either. To recap so far, Pisces season has this simultaneous dream-like and existential-like state. And the reason why it can be existential is because you are faced with these lessons that you need to learn and mindset switches and detoxes that you need to dive into. And the dreaming is when you are able to be in an inspiring state, inspired. It's because now this bridge between what other people have that you want and what you don't have is filled with love. That's how it becomes inspiring. Jealousy is the exact same energy, but with hate. I don't know if you've ever thought of it that way, but when I started realizing that, I'm like, damn. So it's really all me at the end of the day to switch how I'm viewing things here. And after this realization, you can start to create a vision board. There's so many different ways that you can create vision boards. I think that you should do it in a way that aligns with you. The cheapest way of just doing it is using Canva and doing it on your computer and just like printing it out and putting it on your desktop. And that is if you have a computer, right? But like if you wanted to do like the classic Bristol board, then you have to go and you have to like print out a lot of photos because you might not use all of them, and then glue it on. And it can be really fun, but that is more expensive. And another cool thing that I'm seeing a lot of people do is use AI to their benefit by asking like Gemini to create this like photo of even themselves next to a celebrity or doing the thing that they're envisioning them doing. Like if you want to have a podcast and you put like a photo of yourself in Gemini, makes you seem like you're recording a podcast episode. And I think that's kind of cool. That's like a cool way of using AI to your benefit with vision boards. After that, I think this whole month of March of really building that vision, by the end of the month, what I would really like for you guys to have is, if you have certain goals that you're set on to start for spring, have an accountability buddy. When you have an accountability buddy, know what you want to get done for this year. They're going to hold you to that standard. And because of that, you're going to have more like a fire up your ass to be getting it done, kind of like school when you have assignments and There's your peers that are doing it. That's your accountability partners, but also your teachers, knowing that this is an assignment you have to get done and they're waiting for you to get it done. Same thing in life. Like if you have certain goals and things you want, have an accountability buddy to be like, how's this going? Can I support you in any way? And you do the same thing for them. The last thing is don't lose your whimsy, even though there's a lot of heaviness being spread online, very heavy times. And so it can be really hard to put yourself in a position to think like, is this a good time for me to think about myself and dream and want to get goals done when there's so many heavy things happening in the world? I think that there can be this good balance, this delicate balance of being informed and doing things for the good of other people, and also, not losing the thing that makes you you, like the whimsy of you. I just would encourage you to not be afraid of these thoughts. They're important for all of us to see. It's the only way that we're able to become the people we're meant to become. But don't stop there. Learn to transform it and alchemize it into this love and know how you can make that a reality. March is that time to really be clear about all these blocks that you have. That is what the slump is. It's this thawing that is starting to happen where you're starting to be a bit more vulnerable and see what's happening. The snow, although here is a little bit, still full blown, it's thawing. And because of that, we're starting to have this energy build and build and build until I started thinking about the energy of winter and the energy of March and what's happening in nature around me. That is when I started to see that reflection within myself, like what is happening? Like nature around us right now is brainstorming of how they can expand. Like trees are wondering, where can we sprout and create another tree? Where do we need to change where our resources are so that we thrive as a species? When should we start budding for the year? We're assessing, it's this like assessment stage, and we're feeling that too. That's what we need to realize. We are so influenced by our environment and we're also feeling that way. So this is why it's this final stretch in winter of assessing, where are we going to really put all this energy we've been building into for the next, 9 months or so. Yeah. If you want to learn more about how to live more seasonally, I have a guide, Align Your Life with the Seasons, for this last month of March. This is the only time of the year because otherwise I can't really do this. I have the winter portion of my guide up for free. Literally, it's half of the guide for free. And if you vibe with it and you like it, then you can buy the total guide. It's $20 Canadian. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, please make sure to send this over to a friend. Follow along so that you can get more episodes like this. I put out an episode every single Tuesday, just basically life advice, but with a seasonal twist on it. And also make sure to rate this podcast if you haven't yet and you have been listening to a few episodes so far. Let me know your thoughts on it. And yeah, I appreciate you so much. Have a wonderful week and I'll see you next time. Bye.